I didn't see Tilly at all in this episode. She really is gone. We're not pulling a fast one on yous. I think she's gone until she comes in at the last episode for the save, buddy. Ah, dang. This is too hard on the eyes. Can you give me back the 22nd century hologram instead of the 31st century one? Yeah, like that. No problem. Thanks. Now this is so much nicer. This is episode 5 of Star Trek Discovery, Season 4. The Examples, or Examples. What are we making an example of? Are you the example? Am I the example? Is this show the example of what happens when you try to staff your writer's room entirely with schizophrenics? Let's find out, shall we? Of course, this episode taking place in Season 4 of Star Trek Discovery. We are in the quote-unquote future. It is the 31st century. Let it be known that everything I say from here on is prefaced by that fact. I find it challenging to get over the technological downgrade we've experienced with regards to set design and the technology, the holographic technology. A lot of holograms in this episode, and they look awful. They're semi-transparent. Why can't we just boost the opacity, guys, so we don't go blind when we're looking at our holograms? I seem to remember holograms back in my day looking a little bit easier on the eyes. But that's beside the point. So we got A plot, B plot, and again, it feels like we're 3 episodes in with tiny C plots about mental health. Does anyone know why the last 3 or 4 episodes have been just like a C plot with somebody complaining about their mental health? Like, why are these people losing their minds? You know, it's the 31st century. Can't we just go back to Starfleet headquarters and just, here, take this pill and call me in the morning? And they're like, oh my god, wow, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. But no, everyone is, I can't do my job. I'm so depressed. I'm so depressed. Won't someone help me? In this episode, it's Culber. Last episode was Book, and the episode before that, it was Tilly. Who's gone, by the way. Thank God. I didn't see Tilly at all in this episode. She really is gone. We're not pulling a fast one on yous. I think she's gone until she comes in at the last episode for the save, buddy. These new seasons of Star Trek always have the last minute save from the character we didn't expect to come back, even if it makes no sense. So this episode we're introduced to the character of Ruan Tarka, and I must say this character was a breath of fresh air. Finally, we had a character with levity who didn't take himself super seriously and didn't seem crazily depressed. I was thinking, wow, this guy is reminding me of people who are having fun in space. I want to have fun in space. I don't, but I'd like to be the cool guy that has fun, who gets to sit in that chair over there. But that's not me. I get to sit down in engineering and sometimes come up on the bridge and then proceed to almost die every 5 seconds. That's not very fun. However, Ruan Tarka is having fun because he is a tortured genius. I just need the tools to make my experiments happen. I just need to be given a longer leash. I'm a bad boy. I want to live on the edge. Namely, on the edge of almost destroying the Discovery. Okay. Stamets finds out that Ruan Tarka is coming aboard. And he finds it out from Admiral Vance, and he, like, his initial instinct is to remind Michael, okay, this guy's working on a new spore drive, and he tells Michael, like, don't worry. Book and I are still the only spore drive operators in Starfleet. We're special. Look at his visual, the way he emotes visually in this episode. Stamets, he's acting like a 10-year-old. Like, Stamets was cool, and you just tried to ruin him in this episode by making him act like a baby. Like, he was disappointed that somebody else was working on a spore drive derivative. He wants to be special. He wants to be the only one, him and Book, who can operate the spore drive. You can see it in this episode. He really doesn't like this Tarka fella, even though he's a lot smarter. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what Stamets could possibly add to the conversation here, scientifically. He's from 1,000 years ago. I mean, I know they have likely superior teaching technologies in the future to get people up to speed, but 1,000 years is a long time. You need to think these people are time travelers. Stamets was born sometime in the 2200s, I suppose. And it's the 3100s now? What could he possibly have to offer scientifically? How is he on par with Tarka? He shouldn't be. But for the sake of this episode, we're pretending we can keep these characters around. Logically speaking, once this ship came to the future, its entire crew would be mothballed. And they might have a position at the Academy for history, in the history department. That's about it. That's about what the extent of their abilities are. Apart from maybe some diplomacy, they're too out of date. You know, you can't have someone come off a 3-masted schooner onto a Constitution class and hope that they know what to do without massive retraining. Again, I'm getting way off topic, but forgive me. The logical inconsistencies are starting to ramp up. Regardless, Ruan Tarka's idea is to create a simulation, a real working model of the DMA, which is the gravity anomaly we've been dealing with this season. He wants to create it in the Discovery. This thing that has been terrorizing planets, killing countless people, we're going to create a miniature version of it in the Discovery. And not only that, we're doing it in the spore drive room. Because I think we're running out of money. I think we're starting to run out of sets to use. I think our special effects budget is down the toilet. I think with each passing season, this show looks worse and worse. And I gotta say, these guys must be happy that we have to use holographic interfaces for everything now, because now we don't actually have to build anything. We're using the spore drive room to simulate the anomaly. It's so silly. I would say that this episode is possibly the most harebrained and illogical slapdash written one yet. I watched this episode 2 days ago, and I just decided to let it marinate. I liked this episode when I first watched it, but I hated it more and more the more I thought about it. Okay, so we're creating a wormhole inside of a starship. This is stupid. Okay, this is dumb. Like, what? How many facilities does Starfleet have access to that would be safer? Probably countless. Why do we need the power of one ancient starship to do this? It doesn't make any sense. I watched it again trying to figure out why they were doing this, and I couldn't figure it out. Why can't we do this? Why can't we beam down a prefab facility onto an asteroid somewhere and do it there? Okay? Why are we doing this? We've already demonstrated that we can wirelessly transport power. Okay? Because multiple starships were powering the – cloaking field around Starfleet headquarters in Season 3. Why can't we? Why can't we just do? Why can't we do the wormhole experiment from afar? Oh, that's right. We don't have the money for those scenes. That's right. So we're powering up this wormhole simulator, and it's real. It's really happening, and Ruan Tarka has designed schematics for how to do it, and he has them in a hologram, but it looks like the machine is holographic too. And I don't know what was happening, but all I know is that it looked really dangerous to be standing beside it. And Saru, Tarka, Reno, and Stamets were standing right there in front of it when it was gonna blow, and they even said that's as close as we've ever come to killing everybody on the ship with that simulation after Saru pulls the plug. I mean, Tarka, a good piece of acting. He's acting circles around everybody. And I was thinking, hey, this guy's pretty cool. He's a little bit like the character of Kaczynski from the TNG episode Where No One Has Gone Before. This character who comes aboard the ship, commandeers it in some way in order to prove some scientific point, and then things go awry. But in this case, they managed to pull back from the edge. For better or for worse. Maybe it would have been cooler if we just destroyed the goddamn ship. But we didn't. And there's your wormhole plot. Your B... I don't know if that was an A plot or the B plot. I think that was the A. So we'll call it the A. Our B plot is seeing Book and Michael again teaming up. Why is... Book is not in Starfleet. Why is his ship still in the Discovery shuttle bay? What is going? Why is he just? He's just like being commissioned by Starfleet. Now not a good time for that when we're trying to rebuild the Federation. Having a guy walk around without Starfleet insignias on, doing Starfleet things. It's not a good idea. It's a bad look, but it's not as bad a look as the stupid, silly, childish-looking, plasticky excursion outfits that Starfleet has now. Blech. They even got like lit light bars on it, and they look cheap. Ugh. We have to evacuate a Emerald Chain prison colony. Okay, we got all the people off. It's a chain of asteroids tied together. Oh my God. We got the people off. The DMA is coming their way. But there's a prison colony, kind of on one of these asteroids, okay? So we need to go down there. And we need to get the prisoners out. Now, the head of operations there is insisting just to leave them. And for some reason, we automatically just doubt him. We automatically just, don't believe. We automatically believe that these prisoners aren't horrible psychopaths. I don't know why. I don't know why we just believe that. But sure enough, we go down there and we Burnham hacks all the little drones that are protecting it, Emerald Chain leftovers. For those of you that don't know, that's like the Orion Syndicate 2.0. We go into the prison, and there's 4 people there, and we believe their stories. I mean, back in the day, we used to have to prove someone was innocent. We used to have to have a story. It used to be built into the story how we figure out that they didn't really do it. But I guess we're just taking their word for it. I think they even call them political prisoners. And I'm just thinking, where did we get that idea? The theme of this episode is leaps in logic. The theme of this episode is extrapolating based on incomplete data. That's what this episode is about. We're just extrapolating on the fact that there's prisoners here. They must be political prisoners, even though they revealed it was somebody stealing a thing, somebody stealing a vehicle. What is? If that's true, It might not be, but if it's true, I don't know how that makes you. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. I need to remind myself nothing really matters. We need to get these prisoners out. So we hack the door and whatever, and we blah, 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 do some techno jargon, and we get them out of their cells. But sure enough, one of these guys is like, listen, I got this thing I got to take with me. I can leave, but I got to take this ball. We'll find out what that is later. And I want some guarantees. I want a guarantee that when we go out that door, we're going to be free men. Okay? And Michael's like, okay, well, you can try to get like asylum, or you can try to get your case appealed, which is a good idea. I like that idea, because you're saying, okay, you're going to get your case appealed. We're going to review it. You're not off the hook, but we're going to give you a chance. That's what I would have did. I would have said, okay, listen, I'm not going to worry about whether you're telling the truth or not. But what we are going to do is we're going to beam you to the brig, and then we're going to promise you a fair Federation appeal to your case. That's what I would say. And I think that's what they were gonna do. They were gonna get an appeal, so we're good on that front. We're about to leave, and holy crap, the anomaly is coming. It's gonna destroy this prison and everybody here. But this one guy who got that ball thing didn't want to leave because he admitted to his crime. He killed someone. And it was heinous. So big ups to my boy Prison Man for admitting that he did something wrong. He killed someone, and in their culture, the person that he murdered, in their culture, everybody has their family tree in a holographic form, and it's a little projector in this ball, and it shows you your past and your future, your family tree. I'm sure you know what it is. And he took it off the body of the guy he killed, and wanted to make sure it got back to the family that it belonged to. So he was honorable enough to try to keep intact this man's family tree for however many years. I think it was decades he had it. So he wanted to give this back to the family that it originally belonged to. So he's paying for his crimes, and he's trying to make amends in some way. So that's okay, dude. We're okay. I know you killed someone, but you're gonna die. So that's good. And we got the family tree thing, the heirloom. That's good. So we leave without him, much to the chagrin of Book, who doesn't want to leave anybody behind, rightfully so. He saw so many people die in his home planet from this thing. He didn't want to see anybody else die, even if they were a murderer. I can understand. I'm not totally without sympathy. But they beam out, and this colony is destroyed. Now, they get one last dig at the sovereign magistrate or whatever of this colony, saying that you're going to be a asylum seeker too, or whatever. Let's hope the next world you create is more just than the one you left behind. Just, were the prisoners telling the truth? Do we know? We don't know yet. It seemed like we didn't have a lot of evidence to impeach this guy's character, or right off the rip. I thought that was a little strange, but whatever. I mean, maybe he learned something. If he was indeed a villainous character, let's hope he learned something. It's important to note that permeating this entire episode is the ominous feeling that the DMA was created, like it wasn't a natural event. And how they conclude that this event isn't natural is by the fact that it disappears for a second and then comes back. And according to the computer, nothing in nature can disappear and come back. And it's often said that something sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. Well, something sufficiently unknown is also indistinguishable from nature, is it not? I mean, plenty of things happen in nature that we did not understand. That seemed impossible, but we came to realize it was possible in nature. We've totally jumped to the conclusion that it was man-made. to the point where characters are expressing fear, concern, panic over the fact that somebody made this, and they even named the unknown species who built it, the 10Z. Okay, that needed about 3 episodes of exposition to explain to me why it's proven that somebody made it. Okay, we can't just cram this into this episode. This episode is about 3 episodes worth of exposition, impossible leaps in logic, and frankly, we already wasted an episode in this season. The second episode, the episode Anomaly. We should have got rid of this episode and introduced some of the concepts from this episode in that, so that this would make more sense. Our C-plot, again, is another mental health C-plot. This is the mental health season, except this time it's with Culber, who was our ship's counselor, seeking counsel from Kovich, who is that character from Starfleet Academy with the glasses. He just tells him, Kovich tells him a textbook answer, you need to take time for yourself. Except they wrote it in such a verbose way that it sounds more profound than it really is. And Culber's like, yeah, maybe I am working too hard. I think that's, everybody is so mentally damaged, but they're so full of themselves that the only thing they can admit to is that they work too hard. Stamets works too hard, Culber works too hard, and at least Michael works too hard. And that's their main complaints, is that they take on too much responsibility. Frankly, they're just too perfect. But they're also broken and disturbed. And they're inadequate, and they have it all. That's what these characters are like. They're the tortured perfectionist. We've all heard it before. We've all seen these people. And we know to avoid them in real life. But I'm too stupid to avoid them in fake life, which is this show. And I keep going back and watching it for no reason. I keep torturing myself, and it's getting harder and harder to watch. It's getting hard. Okay, I'd much rather watch Prodigy. I've rewatched Prodigy since then. It's so much better. It's so much more interesting. So much more clean. Man, this is just a sad state of affairs here, guys. Everyone's messed up and nothing makes sense. And if you needed something else to make even less sense, at the very end of this episode, the character Ruan Tarka, I'm sorry to anybody who was liking him, he looks like he's a secret bad guy, because he goes to the lounge area, I think on Discovery. He's talking to Book, and Book is slightly telepathic, and Book just gives him the stare, and Tarka's like, oh my god, this guy's thinking I'm sus, so I better say, hey, I'm not sus. So he chooses to say the most sus thing you can possibly imagine. Hey, listen, I don't know who created this DMA, but I know it ain't the Metrons, and I know it ain't the Nassine, and I know it ain't the Q Continuum. Wink, wink. And then Book's like, do you know who made it? Well, I don't want to name any names, but I think I made it accidentally. Whoop, did I say that out loud? Did the writers of the show say that out loud? Because at the last second, Tarka scratches the back of his neck, and you can see a little wound on the back of his neck. And we're all thinking, holy shit, it's the TNG episode Conspiracy. Remember that classic? Where we find out that Starfleet has been infiltrated by bug creatures that are living inside the bodies of the Admiralty. Holy shit, what happened with that? Is that back? Is that what we're doing? Except they're in the neck? Well. We'll see about that, won't we? In the coming episodes. So, to wrap it up, this episode looks like shit, sounds like shit. We're clearly running out of money. It's written like shit. It's completely schizophrenic. It's harebrained. There's not a lot of thought put into this. Overly verbose for no reason. A few interesting sci-fi concepts in the asteroid colony. and the prisoners there. Nothing we haven't seen before in Star Trek, but kind of a fun concept. I like concepts. I like when we got a solid sci-fi premise. So far, I've only gotten that from the episode Choose to Live, with the aliens, and those, like, the sleeping aliens on that generation ship thing. That's the only interesting thing that happened so far this season. Is it too much to ask to get a little bit interesting sci-fi concepts here and there? Mysterious alien species. Oh my god, we don't know what they're up to. What are they doing? They're so ancient and mysterious. Look at these technologies. This is so weird. Is it so hard to get that? Evidently it is, because we haven't seen it in a long time. But this episode has practically nothing for your brain to chew on after the fact. So unfortunately, I'm just going to have to give it... Like, when I first watched this, I liked it. But then as it simmered, I learned to hate it. So I'm going to have to go... It's not as good as Choose to Live. It's better than Anomaly. I think it's better than the first episode. It's better than... whatever the last one was. I can't even remember what the last episode I looked at was, but I'm just gonna go with a 4.5. It's let down by its logic, guys. It's let down when you think about it too much. The fun character of Tarka is ruined because I think they're turning him into a villain. So anything you enjoyed is totally null. Jet Reno came back. I think this is the first time we've seen Jet Reno for this season. That was cool. She seemed very bored. She seemed like she was practically a zombie in this episode, so... I guess it's par for the course, though, right, for this show. I watch it and I feel like a zombie. Maybe the actors feel like a zombie, too. Did you feel like a zombie watching this review? Let me know. This is Mark, and I'm going to be going to a different place than I am now. See ya.